All right, so first and foremost, I'm gonna start off by saying Rakatham, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah. And I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Bakakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And shout out to the whole few left. I went down there for 1,000. Shalom. All right, so, Lord willing, title that I got it in my notes right here. It's the title, We Shall Be Changed. And as I was watching Elder Apostle Gabar video, and I think he did a response lesson to Elder Apostle Tahar video, but he had brought out 1 Corinthians 15, right? He brought out 1 Corinthians 15. He was going into the when it goes into the precept, talking about New Jerusalem, that word new is kanos, right? The word new is kanos, right? And going into refreshed, right? Because when you understand, right, and also us as well, we're going to be changed, right? We're going to be changed. They brought out a precept. Bear with me. What is that? What's that? Isaiah 31:5, right? It says, as birds flying, so the Lord Yahweh of hosts defend Jerusalem, talking about the elect, right? Defend us from the destruction and things that's coming to this earth. Right? It says, defending also will he deliver, right? Because we're going to be delivered out of this place, right? And passing over, he'll preserve, right? Because he's going to be in the chariots, right? Yahweh Shah is going to be in the biggest chariot, right? And you're going to have Yahweh Shah and angels in the chariot. They're going to fill the sky, right? And they're going to come to gather the elect. I'm turning this off. They're going to come gather the elect, and the elect is going to be beamed up and saved, right? And delivered from this destruction that's coming upon America, right? This guy right here, right? Right? But understanding, right? Just going into that, right? It made me think of Haggai chapter 2, right? Because, understanding that we're going to be changed, right? And understanding that, our house is going to be refreshed, right? That kingdom is going to be refreshed because, right? So let's get to the point, I'm just flowing through the spirit. I had some precepts. I was thinking of Haggai 2:6 when he was talking about this, right? And I'll read it real fast. It says, "For this says the Lord Yahweh of hosts, yet once it is a little while, I will shake the heavens and the earth and the sea and the dry land." Right? He said, I will shake the nations, right? I will shake all nations, and the desire of all nations shall come. And I will fill this house with glory, said the Lord Yahweh of hosts, right? So who do you think he's talking to, right? This Lord is going to take us from this low position that we're in. He's going to put us in the righteous seat. He's going to fill this house with glory, talking to the Israelites, right? Verse 6, the Most High is going to bring destruction. How you shake the heavens, right? Bombs, nuclear destruction. This place is going to be destroyed, right? And he's going to take us, he's going to destroy this place. And the elect, which is read Isaiah 31, the elect's going to be beamed up into the chariots, right? The elect's going to be beamed up to the chariots and going to be delivered from this place, right? So this verse 8, it says, the silver is mine and the gold is mine, said the Lord Yahweh of hosts, right? When you understand it, like silver and gold can be tainted, right? It can be, messed with, right? But it still have its value, right? That's why the scriptures talk about, the elect, those 144,000 are going to be tried as gold is tried. Because when gold go through the fire, it still comes out with the same value. So we going through these things, not the elect is going to come out with their same value with that faith and the honor of Yahweh Shah, because they're going to strive and push and endure to the end, right? And I'll bring my notes out, right? It has to be refined, it has to be purified again. Cause that's a good point. It had to be purified again, right? So we being purified, we're being made perfect through our sufferings, right? We're going through these things, we're going through that fight, we're going through that suffering another day, right? But it's the point right here is in verse 9. It says, the glory of this latter house shall be greater than of the former, right? So we was glorious back then, right? But the house to come, when it's refreshed, the New Jerusalem, when it's refreshed, it's going to be even more glorious. Right? It's going to be even more, because we was glorious back then, but now it's going to be a kingdom that shall stand forever, right? Daniel chapter 2, right? This is going to be a kingdom of righteousness, right? And that's why the title lesson is we change, because now in this kingdom, we're going to, laws and commandments written in our hearts and mind. You right, said the Lord Yahweh of hosts. In this place will I give peace, says the Lord Yahweh of hosts, because people looking for peace on this earth, but you ain't going to find it, right? But Yahweh Shah is going to bring that peace when we get into the kingdom. It's going to be a kingdom of righteousness, right? But the point is in the I'm gonna read this precept again. It says, the glory of this latter house shall be greater than of the former, right? So we're gonna be refreshed. It's gonna be made new, right? Because you gotta understand, We was glorious back then, right? I'm gonna go to NLT. We was glorious back then. Why do you think they want to take us down? Why do you think they want to knock us off, right? Because we was that glorious nation. We was that glorious nation, right? Bear with me. It's the book, chapter 2, right? We'll start at verse 6 right here, right? It says, For this is what the Lord Yahweh of heaven army says, in just a little while I will shake the heavens and earth and the oceans and the dry land, right? The destruction. He said, I will shake all the nations, and the treasure of all the nations will be brought to this temple. I will fill this place with the glory that's the Lord Yahweh of hosts. It's like the Lord Yahweh of heaven armies. The silver is mine, the gold is mine, says the Lord Yahweh of heaven's armies, right? That the future of the glory of the future glory of this temple, right? Because when we understand it, we're that spiritual temple being built, right? You understand it, we're that spiritual temple that's being built, right? So it said the future glory of this temple will be greater than its past glory, right? Because why was our temple destroyed back then, right? For our iniquities, for our evil ways, for us going against Yahweh Shah, right? So Yahweh Shah, first the Babylonians came in, destroyed. We rebuilt it in the time of the Persians, and guess what? The Romans came in and destroyed it. Because why? Our iniquity, right? Our ways, our sinful ways, us going against Yahweh Shah, right? It says, the future glory of this temple will be greater than its past glory, says the Lord Yahweh of heaven's armies. And in this place, I will bring peace. What is that place? Talking about the kingdom of Yahweh Shah. It's gonna be refreshed, man. New Jerusalem, right? It's gonna be refreshed, right? It's gonna be a righteous kingdom, right? And also with us, we're going to be changed as well. The laws and commandments are written in our hearts and minds that we're going to be changed. We're going to be refreshed. We're going to be purified, right? It says, the Lord Yahweh of heaven armies have spoken, blessings promised for obedience. Come on, blessings promised for obedience. And that's what we are, the children of the promise, right? But how we get that? Through the suffering, right? Romans 8:17, we get that through the suffering, doing the works of Yahweh Shah, right? Doing his will, being obedient to what he said for us to do, right? So I want to go from here. I want to go to, that's Lamentations 2 and verse 15, right? And it says, all that pass by clap their hands at thee. They hiss and wag their head at the daughter of Jerusalem, saying, is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? And that's what we were, right? That's what we were. They was happy when we fell, right? They were happy when we fell because, we were that perfection of beauty. That's who we are. That the glory of the latter, the glory of the former house. That's who we were. But now it's going to be refreshed, going to be made new, going to be rebuilt back up. New Jerusalem, right? As I got right here in my notes, right? The nation was happy we were brought down. We were that perfection of beauty during the time of King David, King Solomon. Look at us now, brought down as the people, right? The joy of the whole earth, what we're going to be again when Yahweh Shah comes to redeem. And that made me think of Romans 8, and I go to that real fast, right? Let me think of Romans chapter 8. Right, in verse 19, it says, for the earnest expectation of the creature waited for the manifestation of the sons of power, because the righteous are waiting for the righteous are waiting for the righteous to get back in power. The people are waiting for the righteous to get back in power, man. Because the evil, the wicked is in power now, right? And everybody, when the wicked is in rules, the people mourn, the earth mourn, right? We waiting on the righteous to get back into power, right? That's why Yahweh Shah is going to bring righteous at New Jerusalem. We're going to be refreshed. We're going to be made new. Right, we're gonna be made new. New Jerusalem, we all gonna be changed, right? The iniquity that we sin, the thing we did that brought us down, right? It's gonna be no more sin. Right? We're gonna be made into spiritual bodies. When we beamed up into those, and that's what Elder Apostle Kabar was talking about as well. When we beamed up into the chariots, how about Shah, beginning with the elect, right? The elect gonna be the ones beamed up into the chariots, right? They're gonna be changed to spiritual bodies. The laws and commandments gonna be written in our hearts and minds. Therefore, it's gonna be no more sins. The kingdom of righteousness, right? Kingdom of righteousness, right? In the reality of this world, in the reality of people of this world, wait on the true leaders, the Hebrew Israelites, right? Get back in power, righteousness, right? And we're gonna go to 2 Peter as well, right? And it says we have been perfected through the knowledge of wickedness. Now we know both sides. Now we're the proper God, and that goes all the way back to what, right? It goes all the way back to the in the garden with Adam and Eve, right? And the serpent, right? Yahweh Shah allowed it to happen. So now we understand the righteous and the wickedness. So now we're able to understand both paths. Now we're able to choose the righteous way, to do the righteous work, because we understand what's wrong, right? And that's why we have the laws and commandments to separate what's right from wrong, what's good and bad, right? Things we eat, things we're not supposed to eat, right? But things are clean and unclean, right? But our people was breaking the laws and commandments, right? So that's why we're going to be changed, right? We're going to be changed to spiritual body with the law and commandments written in our hearts and minds, written in our inward parts, right? Hebrews chapter 8, right? There's going to be no more sin. We're going to be refreshed. We're going to be purified, right? I might change that to title lesson, right? We will be refreshed, right? Because that word kanos, right? That word new, kanos, right? In the Greek goes to refresh, man. New Jerusalem is going to be refreshed, right? And this house is going to be, and the New Jerusalem is going to be kingdom of SIGH&CRY, kingdom of righteousness, right? Ain't going to be no more sin. Ain't going to be no more death, right? 2 Peter 3:16, right? It says, Slacky, might be 1 Peter 3:16, Slacky. Let me see. Bro, I know it's, it might be, might be 4. Bear with me. Oh, 2 Peter 3, right, 13. It's like I went to 16. Right, it says, nevertheless, we according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth. Right? New heaven and new earth. Let's go to the, let me see. Bear with me. Do something real fast. 2 Peter 3:13. Let's see. Right? Here it is, right?
Strong's G 2537, kainos. Kainos.
Kainos, right? Kainos, right? And it's the word new, right? As respects form, recently made, fresh, recent, unused, unworn, right? Of a new, as respects substance, of a new kind, unprecedented, novel, uncommon, unheard of, right? So this place, what it says, kainos, right? Of uncertainty, affinity, new, especially in its freshness, while it's properly, with so respect, age new, right? As a respects form, recently made, fresh, recent, unused, unworn, right? So we're gonna get into a refreshed kingdom, a refreshed earth, a refreshed kingdom, right? Refreshed heavens, right? It says, nevertheless, we were according to his promise, look for new heavens and new earth wherein dwell righteousness. And this is only for the Israelites, because we was glorious back then. And that's why I read Lamentations, because the people was happy when we fell. We was that glorious house, the beauty of the joy of the whole earth, right? We was that. But us having that uncleanness, us having that filthiness on us, we had to be refreshed. We had to be changed. We got to be made new, right? We got to be made new. I'm going to go back and read Lamentations one time before I bring out, and this wasn't going to be no long one. I just wanted to go in on this. Right? It was on my spirit, right? Lamentations 2:15 says, all that pass by, clap their hands at thee. They hiss and wag their head. That's why also in Jeremiah 50 talks about how it says, I can't think of the exact precept with Jeremiah chapter 50. It goes into how, it's basically saying like, how Esau said, we ain't done that wrong against them because they sinned against their power. People, that's why they love to keep Jake in that YN mindset. They love to keep Jake confused, right? Because they know our birthright, man. They know, once we figure out who we are, they can't stop us. And what they want to do is they want to try to get rid of us. They want to try to destroy us as a nation. They want to try to destroy the temple. They're going to come at the elect, right? They're going to come at, and the elect are that temple, right? They're going to come at the elect. They want to try their best to debunk this truth, but they can't, right? Because they want us to fall, because we're the glorious people. We're the chosen people of SIGH&CRY, man, right? They can't do nothing about it, right? This is all that clap by. All that pass by, clap their hands at thee. They hiss and wag their head at the daughter of Jerusalem, right? Saying, is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty? That's what we were, right? That's what we were, right? I got my notes, right? Because you got to understand, under King David, King Solomon, the house was together. But when Solomon went off with letting the wives, turn his heart away from SIGH&CRY, right? And after he died, his son came to power. The kingdom split. But under King David, they was together. Right, the kingdom was together, northern kingdom and southern kingdom, right? And David was a righteous king, right? But you have so much iniquity going on in our nation, you know, that Yahweh Shah caused us to go into captivity, right? As filthiness, right? Our land been destroyed, right? We were kings and princes and princesses, man. But we're going to get back to that. But we got to be refreshed. We got to be, you know, we got to be purified, right? You know, because we were that, once again, we was that perfection of beauty, we was that joy of the whole earth. And we're going to get back to that. We're going to get refreshed, right? Because right now we're filthy. Right now we're dirty. So now we have to be changed. We got to take out this corruption. We got to take out this corruption. This we in corruption right now in these fleshly bodies, right? But we're going to be changed, man. We're going to be changed, right? It's actually I got a precept to that 2 Peter. I got it in my notes. Let's see, 2 Peter 3. I want to say it's Isaiah. Yeah, Isaiah 65:17, man. Right? This is Isaiah 65 and verse 17. Right? Turn this off so you know interruptions. Right? It says, "For behold, I create a new heaven. I create new heavens and a new earth. The former shall not be remembered nor come into mind." Right? So that's the new kingdom of Yahweh Shah, New Jerusalem, man. Right? We're gonna be refreshed. Going, you know, it's gonna be refreshed. We're gonna all this place right here, America's gonna be destroyed. Right? We're gonna destroy Israel. We're gonna build it back up into the kingdom of Yahweh Shah, the righteous kingdom of Yahweh Shah, man. Right? And we're gonna be changed. Right? So let's go to Hebrews. Matter of fact, before I go there, let's go to Revelation 19. Right? And verse 8, right? It says, and to her, right? And to her was granted that they're talking about the elect, because their wife is talking about the elect, that lamb, that marriage is just talking about joining, right? Joining together, because we're going to be joined together, how Shah, right? I'll read verse 7. So let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him, for the marriage of the lamb is come, and his wife was the elect, have made herself ready, right? Preparing ourselves through his word, right? We've got to clothe ourselves in the proper clothing, right? It says, and to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white. For the fine linen is the righteousness of the saints. And that's that purifying, white meaning purified, right? We're gonna be purified. We're gonna be changed, right? We're gonna be clothed in the proper. We're gonna take out this filthiness. We're gonna be clothed in the proper clothing of Yahweh Shah, His word and the truth. And this truth is what cleanses us. It's what removing that filthiness from us, right? You know, it's what removing this iniquity from us, right? You know, and eventually, with us and doing this suffering, doing this pain, and purging out this corruption, right? When Yahweh Shah comes, we're going to be beaten up to the chairs, Lord willing, the hopefully elect, right? We're going to be taken out of this corruption completely. We'll be taken out of these fleshly bodies and put into spiritual bodies, right? I want to say it was a precept I was looking for, right? Lord willing come to mind, right? But let's go to Hebrews 8, right? Bear with me. Here it is, Hebrews 8. Get straight to the point. Verse 10, let's go to the new covenant. And we're not in the second covenant yet. The only thing that happened in the second covenant is Yahweh Shah, you know, laying down his blood for us, right? He said, for this is the covenant, the second covenant, right, that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, says the Lord Yahweh. I will put my laws into their mind and write them in their hearts. And I will be to them a power, they should be to me a people. So we want to be changed, right, to spiritual bodies where the laws and commandments written in our hearts and mind. So there's going to be no more sin. There's no more filth. We're going to be refreshed. We're going to be purified. We're going to be changed, man. Right? We're going to be changed. We're going to be into new bodies, right? And that's what the elder brought out, you know, 1 Corinthians 15, right? And, you know, Lord willing, we can close with that. So there wasn't going to be no long with Lord willing. I just want to touch on that through the Spirit, right? Because understand we're going to be changed, man. New Jerusalem, and this kingdom is only for the Israelites. Only the Israelites going to be saved and delivered, man, right? No other nation, right? So it's 1 Corinthians 15 and verse 50, right? It says, now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of Yahweh, right? Neither do corruption inherit incorruption, because we're in this corruption. We're in these corrupt bodies right now, right? We're in these corrupt bodies right now, right? But we're going to be taking out these corrupt bodies, right, and made incorruptible, right? I mean, we're going to put in spiritual bodies, right? It says, behold, I show you a mystery. Like Elder was saying, it's a mystery, man. Everybody don't understand it. Everybody don't get this, right? You gotta understand these are the same spirits, right? These are the same spirits being reincarnated, right, into fleshly bodies, right? You can put in this correct. The spirit is willing, the flesh is weak, right? Well, you had the spirit of SIGH&CRY, it allows you to walk in that righteous path, right? It says, behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall be changed in the moment of the twinkle of an eye, at the last trumpet. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. For this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality, man. So we're gonna take off all this filthiness, and we made it to spiritual bodies, man. You know, and we're gonna be refreshed. We're gonna be new. We're gonna be purified, right? We're gonna be purified. We're made white, man. White means purified, right? You know, you're gonna be purified, be refreshed, man. Right? So we're gonna be changed now. And you know, the kingdom of SIGH&CRY gonna be rebuilt. Because our latter house, you know, our former house, right? Our former house, you know, we was glorious, but we had a lot of iniquity going on. So it caused us to be destroyed, but it's gonna be refreshed and made new, right? It's gonna be a righteous kingdom. And we're going to be changed as well to, you know, we're gonna be changed as well. And we're gonna be righteous, right? Because law's commandments gonna be written in our hearts and minds, gonna be no more sin, right? You know, so Lord willing, right? That being said, hope this was edifying and exalting, right? And I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Kakadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And shout out to the whole few elect, all the 144,000. Shalom.